It's time for Counterarmor. Welcome to In Cadence, Season 1, Episode 6, and welcome to PAX everywhere listening. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Ken, I'm 51, and in the gloom, PAX call me Shredder, and I'm one of the AOQs at the Brook in London.
I'm Keith Gator, 43 Flea, and I'm Nantan of the UK West Yorkshire region. And our epic guest today is...
Hello everyone, David, 37 Guardian. I am the Nantan for the UK Midlands area.
Excellent. 3 Midlanders.
And our 6th guest so far. So yeah, quite early in the running order. I think we'll move straight to the one where I'm Shredder. Apparently, there's some notion of competence now, apparently. So
we dispelled everyone of that last week, or 2 weeks ago.
We did, yeah. We did.
It's the fact I'm only the 6th guest, and I looked at all the people you've had previous to me, and you've got, like Sage single-handedly starting the North. You've got Crackett's. You get Safari, and I have to follow Safari. I'm like, guys, don't, the bar has been set really high, and now I've fine. I needed to bring it down a bit, just for everyone in the future.
That is something people often say when they come to the Midlands, isn't it? That it does bring the bar down a little bit. Yeah. So
that's what we do. We're consistent. We'll bring the bar down for you. You're welcome.
For all of you watching, we're all Midlands boys, so it could be a bit of a cheeky one, this one. So anyway, let's crack on. Let's go.
Let's move on. Shall we have a guess at the F3 nickname and reasons for that? So for me, Guardian, I'm hoping, well, it could be cartoon, Guardian of the Galaxy, something like that. Or it could be related to Mammon, so something work-wise, Guardian of something. I don't know, probably comics. I'll go with more that way.
Okay. I've thought about this a lot, and I genuinely have no idea. So I'm going to go with the fact that although I haven't met Guardian outside in the real world, normally I think wherever he goes, he needs a Guardian with him.
Oh, that's a great one, actually. I kind of wish that was true. Just off screen, there's my person going, you can talk now.
Yeah, you can say, yeah. Yes. Don't lick any windows, but you can talk now. It's okay. What's the truth then, Guardian?
Truth is, it's related to my job, actually. So I work in loss prevention, which when I explain to people what that is I don't stand in a store and try and stop people physically leaving the store stealing, but I do work out the ways to try and stop people stealing. And so I was explaining that when I was doing my first Beatdown, and they came and, you sound like a Guardian. And I was like, well, I suppose. And they went, Guardian. So that's how I got my name. But my little picture for band is Guardians of the Galaxy, because I didn't know what else to put on there to kind of bring that one to life. And it's a great film, great set of films as well.
So you're responsible for all these little RFID stickers that are on packs of bacon and fresh meat?
They're not RFID, but we don't have time for that today.
Okay, something like that.
It's like cinder blocks aren't really cinder blocks anyway. We don't have time for that either.
Yeah. Yes.
So I was tempted by the Guardians of the Galaxy one too, and I was sitting there thinking, does he look like Groot with hair, and he didn't.
I have very small vocabulary.
I am Groot. He don't look like Chris Pratt, so I was going, it couldn't be that, but
I could dance like Chris Pratt though. Maybe that was it.
Maybe we'll see that later. Right?
Maybe
okay.
Yes. That's the After Hours podcast.
Absolutely. You can pay more for that. Anyway, no, look.
So that premium subscription service on In Cadence, we can,
we can buy ourselves all the socks a man could dream of. Okay. Well, look, we need to look at you as an F3 exercise. One of the questions we ask guests is, if you was embodied in F3 as an exercise, what would a Guardian be?
The one that seems to be associated me with these days is something that I don't know if it's done elsewhere, but it's called boat canoe. And it wasn't ever something that I came up with or started doing, but someone else did, and I kept asking for it. So every time now they do it and I'm there, they'll go, and right, we've got a few minutes left, we'll do Guardian's favourite, boat canoe. And it's a nice little way to end it. All packs are in a circle, and there are 2 positions. Boat, which is you're on your 6 with your legs up, kind of towards your chest, trying not to put your hands on your legs, but just holding that position. That's the boat position. And the first person in the circle calls canoe, and you kind of lie back. You try and keep your shoulder blades off the floor, but you're lying more like a 6 inches in hold type thing. And the next person has to call boat. They can hold it as long as they want. So you get some people who've really got really good core strength, and they're holding out for ages. And you've got other people that as soon as they shout boat and you come up, the next person shouts canoe and you back down. So I think that, for me, even though it's not my favourite thing in the world to do, because it flipping hurts, that for me embodies the Guardian. If you were kind of to say what is it Guardian does at these beatdowns, it's the boat canoe. And it's a nice little way, because you kind of get, even if you've been doing kind of OYO or AMRAP type exercises during the BD, it's a nice way just to bring everyone back together before the cut, just to finish off. And usually everyone then collapses when it's the final recover and everyone's kind of lying on their backs waiting to get back up. So yeah, I'd say that's it.
I had a quick thought, just to go back, and I'm sorry for this. If you needed a backup, that scene, we're not syndicated, folks, but that scene in Hot Fuzz where the two police guys are in the shopping centre and the lad nicks something, and there's a bit where they fence jump. That would be a Guardian type thing to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think we could we have got a fence around the reserve. I think we've not used it yet because it's a bit sketchy. It's not like the strength of a normal fence.
You guys piling
but I'm
over
gonna try it next time and see if we can do it.
Please don't splinter yourself anywhere. Fortunate, obviously, Splinter's one of my nemesis, and I wouldn't like to see that happen.
Yeah, see that happen. Well, we all listen to the same disclaimer. Funny you mention Hot Fuzz, because we were in Weymouth a few weeks ago on family holiday, and we went to this little fairground, and I was getting on the dodgems. My oldest was on a dodgem already, and I was going to go on with my lad, and he decided he didn't want to. So I moved out the way to let the next person and his lad come on. And he walked past me and I went, that guy looks just like Nick Frost. Like, that guy could be a Nick Frost impersonator. And I went and stood around and watched Florence, and I was stood there staring at him going, I think that actually could be Nick Frost. And Florence kept bumping into him because there was only like 2 or 3 bumper cars, and she kept ramming him and his kid. And eventually I cottoned on that actually was Nick Frost in a dodgem. I Googled him and I was like, that's the same glasses. Oh my God, he's wearing the same rings on his hand. I kept, Florence, stop bumping into him.
Stop trying to kill Hagrid.
I did actually speak to him later on. I just kind of went, I'm really sorry if I've got this wrong, but are you? And he went, yeah, it's me. And I went, I won't disturb you because you're having a lovely family day, but A, I think your films are flipping incredible. And B, I'm really sorry my daughter was decided just to make a beeline for you in the dodgems. And he was like, it's fine. It's what they're for. But lovely bloke, really lovely bloke. But yeah, Hot Fuzz, great film.
That reminds me of a Charles Dance story that I'd like to tell, but not now.
That's for the after hours.
Yeah, that is for the after hours. Go on then, Flea. Keep us going. Keep us on track.
So you mentioned boat canoe as the Guardian, as it's known in the Midlands region. With regards to other exercises, though, what would you say is your strongest set of exercises or favourite exercise to?
I would say it's the big boy sit-up. And it's interesting because that used to be one of my weakest exercises. I had a real issue with getting to about even, 7 or 8, and my back would just fall apart. Like, I'd be in real problematic pain. Like, I feel like if I carry on going, this is going to really hurt. And I knew they had to be the test for the GTE last year, hand release Merkins and big boy sips. And I'd kind of managed to get enough of a way to get through the hand release Merkins, but the big boy sips were the problem for me. I was about 10, 15 off. I remember going to Manchester one weekend with my wife, and I think it was my lad. We just went away for the weekend, took him away for something. And I was explaining, I was like, I need to do, I think it's 52 or 42. I can't remember which way around it is in 2 minutes. And I'm struggling to, then I'm getting to about 35 and I'm in agony. Like I'm almost like, I feel like I'm going to do myself some damage here. And she works in a gym. So she said, let me see you do it. Let me see your form. And I was a bit like, okay, it's a bit personal, but whatever. And I was literally on the hotel floor lying down, and I showed her, and she said, your back remains arched off the floor. So as you're coming up, you need to push your core into the floor so that you're actually lifting with your core muscles and not your back. And after that, I'd kind of sussed it. So not only was the problem that it was hurting my back, is that I wasn't really building my core strength because I was using too much of my back muscles. And I kind of managed to not only get it improved enough for the GTE test to get in, but it just kind of, it strengthened and strengthened. And now it's probably one of my favourite exercises. If someone says, next exercise, Merkins, I'm like, oh. If someone says next exercise, big boy sit, I'm like, yeah, brilliant, we'll go all morning like this. So that has become my favourite exercise from being one of my probably most hated and most painful exercises.
What's your most hated and most painful one now? Is it Merkins, like you just said, or is it?
No. I think the thing about the Merkin is it is what it is. I think I look around and everyone struggles to get good form consistently, but it's one of those things that the more you practice, I feel like you can build that momentum, even if it's adding on one or two each side. My least favorite is the side plank. I hate it. I hate side plank. I hate the side plank lift. It's again, a similar thing with my back. It just feels horrible. Like, I don't mind. The whole point of doing it in the gloom and that time of the morning is it's not meant to feel comfortable, right? But those things feel just disgusting. So I remember Fonz doing them as part of April Abs.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, he did it. I did it a couple of times, and it was hands down the one where I had to keep doing like 5 on one side, stopping, going around 5 on the other, because I just couldn't keep going on one side. It was absolute agony to do that. So I think I need to do something similar with the big boy sips. If I'm back on here in a few years' time, it may become my new favourite exercise ever. But for now, horrible, least favourite.
That challenge, and we did it twice, didn't we? It came back recently.
Yeah, I saw
that. There was that minute where the day where we had 5 minutes of planking, and I pushed myself. And my top tip for 5 minutes of normal planking is I put an episode of He-Man on, and I sat there watching this cartoon, and I did the whole 5 minutes in one go, and that was 58 seconds over my best ever plank. And then because the Fonz is, I'd say he's a bit of an abs beast. Yeah. I forgot it was coming back a week later in 6 minutes. And at that point, I was like, well, allow that. I'm not stopping. So I put the same episode of He-Man on, because I hadn't watched He-Man since then, and just went and I did the whole 6 minutes in one go. But equally, a minute of side planking, I'd rather have my eyes poked out with a stick. It's horrific. So we need to work on that. Right. Okay. Songoramas. I know, because obviously we met this summer at Download. You like music. What's your favourite song to use, or what's your favourite song you've ever had played for you when you've been at a beatdown? I might have a thought about this. Go on.
Yeah. So the music I tend to actually listen to on a day-to-day basis very, very rarely. In fact, I can't even actually think of a time it was played at a beatdown. It's not really conducive with that type of thing, like blast beating. Do a merkin every time you hear a blast beat, like a machine gun.
10,000.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been to one before, and it was like a Valentine's Day one, and someone had like a rocky Valentine's mix, and Kill Switch Engage came on, End of Heartache, and I can't remember whether we were actually doing some exercises to it, but I was loving it. I was just singing along, and I was like, what are we supposed to be doing again? Just belting it out. But it may be a bit of a common one, maybe not, but my all too favourite songorama to do an exercise with is Thunderstruck. AC/DC, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it's a bit. You think to yourself, it's usually for us, it's side shoulder hops and a burpee on Thunderstruck, right? And eventually, the side shoulder hops just start. You're like, oh God, am I gonna have to mud down to high knees here, because it's just relentless. And then the Thunderstruck keeps kicking in. But where it really again stemmed from, when you have these kind of memories as to why it means so much to me, was we had, I think it was the first Convergence where we had a lot of the South guys come up to the Midlands. It was about 18 months ago. March. It was a miserable day, god awful day. I couldn't actually take part. I just recently had like a minor surgery, which meant I couldn't actually be part of it, but I wanted to come along, wanted to meet the guys who were having a big kind of extended 30-30 afterwards. So I just basically came along to meet the guys, film, and it was miserable. I was stood there freezing because I wasn't moving. And I think they ended it. If not, it was slightly earlier on with this Thunderstruck. And just seeing like 50 guys side straddle hop along to, I was like, this is immense. It's like being at a concert. It's just so brilliant to watch, to see it come together. So that will always sit in a memory. So that for me, if the opportunity arises, that for me is the kind of classic one to go. That's the one we're going to do.
Nice. That is nice. A lot of people have done a lot of burpees to Thunderstruck, eh? It's been well used. It's a shame we don't give them the royalties per burpee.
I was going to say that. I mean, I think they get enough. I reckon they're probably doing okay.
They're all right.
I think they're doing all right.
But I think they're doing. So even though I'll never really play a lot of the music I listen to on a day-to-day basis in a beatdown, I do always talk about how important music is to me. I'm listening to it a lot. It's always on in the car. It's, it was always on the Alexa. It's on in my headphones and stuff. And so I did do a full beatdown where it was just like, I called it Top of the Pops, and it was just songorama. It was a whole beatdown of songoramas, and it flipping exhausting.
Yeah.
Because it's just no giving up on it. So yeah, I do love a good song. It's good in potentially as a warmer armor, just again to start bringing people together, having a bit of fun in it, that type of thing. But yeah, brilliant, love them.
The fun is a big element, isn't it? 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine who's not in F3 said to me, "Do you think your guys would like this song?" And he sent me this clip of, Total Eclipse of the Heart, Bonnie Tyler. It was dirty, man. It was dirty. You lying on your stomach in a kind of out Superman type thing with your arms in front of you off the ground and your feet. Every time they sing Turn Around, you roll over. So she sings Turn Around and you roll on to your 6 and you kind of do a sort of dead bug type thing.
Yeah.
And then she says Turn Around and you roll back. And when you've done that for 4 minutes,
just roll across the field.
Roll off the side of the car park and into the gutter.
Yeah, as long as you roll back the way you can. You roll back and forth. Yeah.
I was like, my glasses were steaming. All the packs are grunting. And also it's quite funny because you've got this, men on the floor in the car park at 5:30 in the morning go, "Turn around, bright eyes," My goodness. And we laughed. And that's part of it, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Good. Yeah. But keep those big beats going, Do a bit of the mad stuff. I'm going to get some Fit for a King in a beatdown soon. It's going to happen. Every time he screams.
Well, yeah, every time he screams, you just be on the floor the whole time. I think the thing for me as well is that when we're thinking about keeping it simple as well, when it's a song that people know and you just have to talk to them about the exercise, when you hear this word, do that, outside of that, do that. If they don't know the song as well, it can add an extra bit of complexity. Like, I think I just heard the word. Do I need to? So when it's songs that people are more commonly know, like we chump. I get knocked down. When you know it's coming, you're just focusing on doing the exercise really well, rather than I'm kind of doing the exercise, but I'm waiting to hear the next thing coming as well. And as when you're queuing as well, it's one less thing to have to worry about. You have to signaling to everyone. He has just screamed the word. You need to do it.
Guys. He screamed.
Yeah, that's that.
Do your Merkins. Yeah. It's a good point, Guardian. Thank you.
I got out just before Christmas. Actually, I remember it well because it was at the factory in Leeds, and it was in the tarmacked basketball court because it was ice everywhere, and it's the only area that was not snow and whatever deep. So we were running. I got everyone running around this basketball course to "Happy" by Pharrell Williams.
Okay. Yeah.
From Despicable Me. Running around and on "Happy" burpee, get up, keep running, happy in the chorus, and there was some crying after that. I remember that.
Yeah, cursing.
Yeah. Cool.
Please. Go on then. Let's go.
Cool. Well, let's get into the thing and the main part of the interview for today. So, Guardian, how did you get into the F3 life?
Yeah, so it was a Facebook post, but it wasn't the first Facebook post I had ever seen from the guys. So I had spotted a post by a guy called George. This guy called George, he just posted it on a local group, and it was just like 4 of them lying in some grass. One of them was lying on the floor, and it was like hey, we do a workout. Do you fancy it? And at the time, it didn't really resonate with me. I don't know what it was, but I kind of remember seeing it and then didn't do anything about it. I kind of went, okay. And then the next time I saw it again was a while later, and it was actually my wife tagged me in it this time. And there was a big difference between the first time I saw it and the second time I saw it, which was, and this is really important around that second F piece. So I was quite fortunate. I had a friend who I'd been friends with for, 20 years. He had been my best friend. He'd been my best man. He's my oldest godfather. He's basically Uncle Paul. And sadly, he lost his life due to a heart problem so young. You know, he was basically the same age as me. And he sadly, suddenly passed away. And that was a really horrible, like tough year, because it was like the kind of COVID year, end of that year. So I was struggling with fellowship significantly, because me and him would go to the cinema. We were a bit like, you don't have to be a couple to go and see a film. You don't have to be a family to go see a film. I want to go see a film. I want to go see the new, you know, Infinity War. I want to go see the new this, that, or the other. And he'd be like, yeah, brilliant. Let's go. We'll play some pool. We'll have a beer. And I got my kind of second F, if you will, a lot of it through him. And so losing him was really difficult, because I lost that ability to speak to someone as freely as I could, because he knew everything I'd struggled with, you know. And when I say struggle with, the normal struggles that you have when you're growing up, and, you know, confiding in him with everything. So to lose that, I lost a big part. And so when it came around again, and Katie, my wife, tagged me in it, she basically, I think she noticed that in me, that I had lost a lot of social interaction with people, with other guys, because Paul wasn't there anymore. So the beauty of that time around is I happened to see someone that was tagged in it, also called David, and I went, I used to work with him. I'll message him. That's quite cool. I'll message him and I go, hey, what's this all about? And he was like, really super simple. Just show up. And I was like, okay, I'm not, you know, I really don't, you know, I used to do a bit of running, but I haven't probably done anything in a while. He was like, you'll be fine. Just show up. And he was actually like, I'm not actually there this coming Saturday, but it's fine. George will be looking out for you. And so that's how I ended up going to my first beatdown. It was I think it was an April morning, so it was light, because they were starting to do Wilberforce beatdown, as I came to know it to be, Wilberforce, at 6:30 on a Saturday. So you should get a lie-in on a Saturday. So it's light out. I remember showing up. I remember what I wore. I wore these kind of 3/4 lengthy tracksuity, shorty things, because that's all I had. A pair of random shoes, trainery things, and a T-shirt that I didn't mind. I was outside in. I remember showing up going, are you George? And he was like, yeah. He was like, it's David sent you. I was like, yeah, that's me. And then I remember standing there being like, oh, okay, just milling around. And I remember him being like, oh, you know, such and such. Oh, is that the dude on the way up? And I was thinking, how was you calling him the dude? Like, what a strange thing to call someone like that. And it took me a while to realise they were calling each other strange names, and I was a bit like, why are you calling it? And that's where it came to be. So that was still very, you know, clear memories of that morning, and then going home and going, I love that. I'm going to go next week, and still feeling the pain of it next Friday. So like 6 days later going, I think I can just about go back tomorrow. So, you know, we're now like 5 days a week spread across like 3 AOs. So, and I'll go to most of them. So it's a massive difference in how my body's conditioned to what it used to be. But yeah.
So go on, Flea.
I was going to say, who are George and Dave? Because I don't know them by their first names. What were the rest of the names?
Should have explained. So George is the one and only Zohan. The what I'll call the godfather of UK Midlands. And we've, you know, if we get into it, the you know, really impressive story about how he came to create the Midlands. And the other one is Rocky, who is he's still going strong. He's still one of the toughest cues. If you go to one of his beatdowns, you're not going to come out of there without anything but significant amount of sweat, groaning pain, and agony and cursing towards him. But gotta love him for that.
Good. So when you were there and they started calling you FNG, which one of them? You said there was 4 of them there. Is that right?
Yeah, there wasn't many off the top of my head. There was Sohan, who I think was queuing. This is really bad. Like, you remember your first beatdown, but I can't remember actually who was queuing. I will say that back then, the difference between how the beatdown was put on to how it is now, it was a lot more relaxed. You know, the disclaimer was kind of, you know, I think it was read out. The flag may or may not. I think the flag was there, but the UK flag wasn't there. the Namerama wasn't filmed. There wasn't really there was a lot we learned, and if we get into it, there was loads we learned from like the Convergence 18 months ago, where the South came up and just showed us so much and empowered us with so much of like, that's brilliant, we're going to do that. But yeah, I think Zohan was leading it. I think his brother was there, which is Stig. I think we had Gears, who doesn't come anymore, which is a shame because he was really, really funny guy. And I think we had a guy called The Dude, who I'll always remember because he was pretty much the only one, and still is if he's still sat on band somewhere, who joined with his real name and never changed it. So he's still on there as like Graham something and just didn't ever change it, even though it was like, you need to be on there as your F3 name. And he was like, okay.
Just didn't.
So yeah. Just didn't. I think he was just like,
who was your battle buddy?
That's the thing. We didn't actually have. It wasn't given as an official. You are an FNG. This is what it's about. You will have a battle buddy. I think it was because it was such a small pack as well. There was only the 4 or 5 of us. It was kind of, I was just looked after and whatnot. But no, there was no official. This is your battle buddy. This person will make sure you get through like we would today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay, isn't it? It's okay. It was like that. Like, it doesn't. What was it like though? I mean, obviously you had 6 days worth of DOMs, right? And you said you were enthused. Do you know why you felt like that at the end of it?
I think it was. I remember laughing a lot. I'm a bit of a joker, which most of the time has its upsides. Sometimes it gets a bit much, but most of the time it's a good thing. I just remember having a lot of fun. Making a lot of jokes with these guys and them being very almost what's the word? They're being very reciprocating with that. Like they almost enjoyed the humor. So there were one of them, I think Zohan again was reading out the disclaimer, and I was like, so you're saying is if I die I can't sue you, right? And that's where it'll start, because if you meet Zohan, I've worked on him for so long now to try and get him into a more humorous state, because I used to just crack jokes and it would just go so over his head. I think if I told him a similar joke now, he'd get it, and that's one of my biggest accomplishments, is getting the humor side of Zohan out of him. But I just remember going, that was flipping brilliant. Like, I'm in pain, but I remember smiling. And I've now met some people who I don't really know them yet, but I feel like we have similar, I remember talking about having kids, and one of them had a really small child. And I was like, so I've got, like a really young child, Violet was quite young at the time. I just remember feeling like these people are quite similar to me in what stage of life they're in. And then, yeah, it hurt. And that was what I liked. I was like, for me, that was getting up early-ish, 6:30. Probably not early in the standards of some of the other BDs now, but it was getting up early, and you kind of want to come out of that going, well, that was worth getting up early, not walking out there going, I go for a run now. So I just remember feeling very, a few of those, and I think I can keep the pounds off, or I think that will help me keep some of the weight off and make me feel good. Yeah, I just remember that, and then thinking, right, and then they added me to band, and I was like, oh my god, what's all this? And seeing all these different names, yeah, it was really good.
Good, thank you.
So you got into F3, you say you enjoyed those first workouts, and you've kept coming back however many years later. What's that, 3 years later now, 4 years almost?
3.5 years-ish, I think. Scientist has just gone all the way back for all of the band stuff he could find and tied up all the numbers. So I think I could probably get the confirm one, but I think it's about 3.5 years.
Yeah, we've just done that for our awards evening, for our Yorkshire's first birthday party this Saturday. We've got an awards evening, so number of BDs, highest number of Hughes to BDs ratio, typical awards for this type of thing. So we've only had a year's worth of BDs to go back and do the calculations on, but respect though for 3.5, 4 years worth of calculations. He's fair play.
He's good as scientist with that. Yeah, really good. Yeah.
It's a lot of pairs of trainers, isn't it?
We'll get him on.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh, he'd be really good. He'd be really good.
Yeah. So yeah, you got into your fitness, and then you started coming back again further on. And what improvements did you see with the rest of your life, and the effect that F3 had on your fitness, your external relationships, your work, your approach to work? How did all of those change?
So the thing that I noticed is that any previous exercise I'd been doing or diet I'd been doing was very much felt like a one and done. And this felt different to that, in that you wouldn't go to a beatdown or beatdowns, as Wilberforce grew to 2 a week and then the reserve, then so on, so on, so on, so on. You wouldn't go and do a week's worth and jump on the scales and go, yes, there it goes, it's gone. I've dropped half a stone. But it was one of those things that you could, it's very hard not to be able to fit it into your life. So apart from getting used to the mornings, and if you had I get it, there are people that work nights or work early mornings all the times, and even with the times that we do, they would struggle with. But for most people, having it at that time in the morning, you can fit it into your life, and you're not there all morning. So most mornings, I'm home, showered, even having a cup of tea sometimes before anyone's up, and I really quite liked that, because I am actually more of a morning person. I'm fine in the evenings too, but I do quite well in the mornings. I do prefer to be. I like to have accomplished something in the morning. So a line is great, but I feel like too many lines and you're kind of like, oh, I've wasted the morning now. So that really helped with that consistency piece. And that consistency is key. And it started to kind of show up in things like diet, of going, it isn't about going, I'm going to have 2 weeks where I starve myself. And that'll be enough, because I know immediately I'd be piling it back on, and you read Free to Lead and you're like, Pogo 40, that sounds familiar. And it's exactly what was kind of going on in my head, of going, it's that consistency piece versus like a big blowout. So I definitely felt the benefits. I'd be really intrigued, because I think where I'm at physically is I feel really good with how I am from a cardio point of view. So like I've got 3 kids and they run around like crazy and I can keep up with them. And that's a good thing, because I think I don't ever want to underestimate that a lot of guys my age are probably unlikely to be able to do that. In fact, the one that really, where it really shone through is, I can't remember how long ago it was. I think it was last year now. My appendix decided it had enough. And so I had to have it taken out, and I had to have 6-8 weeks off. They were like, you can't do any exercise. And just as I was just getting to the end of that period of time, we did a little family holiday. We're at the seaside. I remember running around the beach with the kids and being so exhausted, like breathless after just that period of time. And that almost kind of gave me into the window of, if you weren't doing this, if you weren't doing F3, this is what it could be like, and then some. And the kids are only kids once. It's a cliche of way of saying it, but the ability to kind of, hopefully they'll look back and think, the times that we were able to play and he was able to run around with us, he wasn't panting and keeling over and, gasping for breath. He could keep up with the boundless amounts of energy and, that the kids have got. So that was really interesting, because I do always wonder, if I wasn't doing F3, what would I be like today? Would I be unfit? Would I have found another way of exercising? Would I be significantly larger than I am today? For me, it's kind of taught me, it's that whole, it's not about the end, it's the journey, right? And that's exactly what this is to me. There's never I will hit a weight, or I will look at a certain way in the mirror and I'll go, done, brilliant, F3, thank you very much, I will see you later. It's that, this is it now. There is no future for me where F3 doesn't exist in my life, because everything it gives me in that space, from an exercise, a fellowship point of view, I genuinely don't know where I would be without it. So I think that's where I look at and think about how it's changed me since I first started. And again, I can just always like to have that point of reference, and that point of reference was for me. And I speak to FNGs when they come along, of going, because we're here today and Friday, and then we're there on Wednesday, and we're here on dinner, and they're like, do you go like every day? And I'm like, I'll go most days, but bear in mind, when I first came, we did it once a week, and it would take me the week to recover. And now I can do, if I can make it to all of them, I can do five beatdowns and an off the books run on and I would do that amount. And apart from probably making sure that my fatigue and my tiredness doesn't get the better of me, because that's where it hits me, when I do too much and then I make myself ill through lack of sleep. I can manage it. I can just keep it going. It's almost like the kind of, you keep pushing it further and further, and you never really feel the aches and pains, because you're almost consistently working that particular muscle or those groups of muscles. So consistency.
I mean, I will say in your favour, you're 37. So let's do this again in 10 years' time. And
if I'm still at it.
Just no, you just said you're not going anywhere. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
But, that does help. I get that, though. I appreciate what you're saying there about, I don't know, there's something about the home we find. I have a friend. It's interesting. I said to Flea, today I had the second woman say to me, I'd like to come on your podcast. In both cases, they're both people who are strong advocates for mental health, and they see how many men are killing themselves, how much suicide is impacting men.
Biggest killer, isn't it?
I know, and loneliness is more harmful than cigarettes. And there is something about being found. Next month, my normal exercise app that I bought, that I pay for still, is due for renewal. So my journey for another time, I've gone through a different number of different groups, and I know I'm home in F3, and so I'm kind of on the fence with that. Do I continue that still? Do I pay for another year? It's cheap as chips, and it's brilliant. But I've actually got to the point now where I'm like, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Because I know what I need. I don't know what the analogous sort of image is, but we've found a sense of belonging, which I think very few of us would want to give up. And reflecting back what you were saying about where would I be? Obviously, with us both being at Download in the summer, back when I was massive, I mean, the first time I saw Metallica, I didn't say it to my best friend, but I said, could we go in the seats? Because I knew I was too vulnerable to stand. And I wasn't fit enough to stand. And now, where do I want to be? I want to be standing as close to the front as I can, and enjoying it. And I keep getting tempted to go in the mad stuff. I'm still on the fence about that, because but yeah. Anyway, this is home. I got another question for you. So, just thinking about this, you're talking about your journey. F3 says to us as men that we should be taking the daily red pill. We should be seeking to accelerate in all areas of our life. If you've got a sense of what you're focusing on at the moment in terms of where you're accelerating, what's your kind of 2, 3, or even just one place where you're going, I'm pushing it all forward, but this is where I'm putting the effort.
Yeah, I think my main focus, whether I want to or not, is definitely my queen. For a long period of time, even during being at F3, without knowing what the correct terminology was, I thought I could out-king my queen. And again, it's that vicious cycle of going, I'm getting up early, I'm using a lot more, burning a lot more energy, calories, I can afford to eat more. And I wasn't really thinking about the things I was putting in my mouth, apart from, it's okay, because I did a workout this morning, right? And I'd never got to the point where I was like, I go to F3 so I can afford to eat this stuff, but I didn't really put any focus behind. And I probably still don't enough, because I definitely struggle with that kind of, counting your macros and calorie counting and all the stuff that I see on the WhatsApp group that we share, Shredder, Queen Accountability. But it's still something that I still feel like I've got weight to go, even for me, because I know that eventually I'll hit an age where to try and get it off, especially that middle section, is going to be really hard. And I kind of want to get to a place where, because of this consistency, I get there and I'm not on an uphill struggle. I'm like, I just keep going. I might need to work a little bit harder, but I'm not kind of like, oh, I've got to do something really, really big, and I've got to do it in an age where it's even harder. So I think Queen is my main focus, and it's still, the summer's totally knocked me off. I think a lot of people have said that, the kids being at home all the time, right. Not having time to probably make lunch was could be my big downfall. Kind of up until that point, I can probably do with very little to get me to lunch. But then after that point, I would struggle. And when having the kids at home and you've got to make them lunch as well as your own lunch, and working from home, it's quite stressful in itself. You're trying to do something and then they're all kicking off and you, guys, I'm trying to work. That really, and I feel like that knocked me back a bit, which was frustrating. but I had to just reframe and, you know, think about, again, it's the journey. This isn't about doing one and done. My ultimate ambition from a target, not kind of get there and then you can finish, you know, because we're in the realms of Pogo 40 there, which is I do want to have a weight that starts with a 12. That's always been my ambition, and then I can feel a bit more flexible to, you know, go and have a meal out if you need to, or, you know, you don't have to necessarily have what you'd normally have for lunch, but it's it can get frustrating when you think you've had a couple of good days and you jump on the scales and you look down and you're like, no, it's not. But again, it doesn't force me to go, that's it, this clearly isn't working, I'm going to give in, because you know, I have a lot of people on, you know, Facebook and Instagram that are fitness trainers, and I like their approach because they're very much like, the worst thing you can do when you have a bad day or a cheat day is beat yourself up and go, well, that's it, I'll pack in the towel and kind of keep going.
Right.
Is kind of going, use it as a means to kind of try harder and get back on it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying it in my own kind of unique way, as you've probably seen, Shredder, which is that I've pinpointed a person who Meta, who is
working well,
actually AOQ. I call it Mate Accountability.
Yeah.
And I actually have him on a WhatsApp, just me and him on a WhatsApp group. And I just message every time I eat something, nothing more. Don't have to say how many calories, because I'm like, I've got time for that. I just message him, and he's so funny because my real downfall is crisps. He's my absolute Achilles heel. Like, if Katie buys the kids like a multi-bag of crisps, I have to be so careful around them, because there'll be loads of flavors the kids won't like. They'll like their salt and vinegars, they're already salted, that sort of thing. The other ones, not so much. Do I eat them over the period of a few weeks? No. They could be gone in a couple of nights, because they're just like an addiction of this tastes too good. And so I'll be messaging him going, I've had another bag of crisps.
I found the pickled onion, what's it?
He'll just reply and be like, what's going on, man? Like, I can picture him going, what's going on?
Away from the Pringles.
Step away from the Pringles. But it's good. It's good. Again, I can't say I've absolutely cracked it, and I never will. That's the thing. I think if you think you've ever cracked it, you've got a bit of a problem there. But for me, the Queen, as it will be for a lot of people, is a big focus that I'm trying to get to the same level where I feel like I could confidently go, I'm in a good place with that. I can probably turn my focus somewhere else while that plate spins quite nicely. At the moment, that's probably my main plate that excuse the pun, the main plate that I'm trying to crisps. Plate full of crisps. Yeah,
You're doing really well. You're doing really well, and like you say, you're in the 12s now, right?
No.
Are you still in 13s?
I got it under. Well. I got it under for about a week, and then it came back over and it stayed up there, and it's going towards the kind of middle end, which is where I probably started when I started doing kind of like daily weighing and whatnot.
Yeah,
I can feel I'm frustrated a bit, but at the same time, it's okay. I just try and work out, all right, what do I do to kind of move away from that? So
some people think you should have a month off when you do, you know, this is the constant battle, like you say. Within the constant battle is you know, deficit eating can be a miserable world, you know, and especially when people like me are sending you pictures of cakes that they've made most days. You know, for dinner today, I had cake, and then I had Ninja ice cream, and I'm still on about 1,500 calories for the day. So I'll take that, and I've had 150 grams of protein, I've had at least 30 grams of fiber, and as I said to you, Huck, if you're listening, whatever the culture of F3 is, it should include Ninja Creamy ice cream.
It should be its own section in the Q source.
Absolutely.
They'll
reload
5.1
it. Ice cream. But ice cream. You know what? That WhatsApp group is helping us, and just to encourage
keep seeing people being added.
Yeah,
I love it.
Just to encourage you. You're doing well.
When I was listening to Sage's podcast and he talked about the Leeds convergence when we went up, that's where it came from. We had a 30-30 and we talked about Queen. And we talked about the accountability of meeting in the gloom and going, I don't want to do this exercise, but this guy's right next to me and he's going to call me out for the right reasons if I'm not. We said, how do we get that when we're at home in a place where no one's looking over my shoulder when I'm on the third or fourth bag of crisps? It's only me accountable for me. How do I make other people How do I make myself accountable to other people? And this is where that Queen group started from. So I love the fact it's not only still there, but it feels like it's growing and more people are kind of finding. And even if it's like, I don't care if you're not necessarily doing anything special to begin with, just put down what you're eating, put down where you're struggling, put down what you weigh if you want to.
Yeah.
And then we'll just talk about it. At least if you talk about it, we can do something about it. But if we keep it to ourselves, we're less likely to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
Need to get in on that. I need to get on it. My Queen's gone to.
I'm
going to. I'll get it off him. Yeah, because my Queen has gone to. My Queen has gone to the dogs since.
No more smoked salmon and eggs every day.
Yeah, that's the problem. I eat the smoked salmon and eggs, but then it's all the other stuff that I eat after that as well. So I need to get back on it. I was in a good place. I will. I'll get straight on it. And anyone else in the UK who's listening, who wants to jump on it, get in touch with.
We've got a WhatsApp group for F3 guys. Absolutely,
everyone
come and join us with that
across the country as well. It is not.
I'll send you pictures of cake.
Yes, just to rub it in. Anyone feeling hungry? Healthy. It's very healthy. It doesn't look healthy cake.
Do you know what though? That's the trick, right? That cake that I sent you guys the picture of today, we should post that in the show notes. Honestly, I made protein icing, right? I know this is a bit naughty, but I
wonder what was behind there.
Yeah. Top tip.
There was a virtual background behind it, but no, it's not.
This is the brand of whey that I use, Perform M, and I've tasted a lot of protein powder, which basically tastes like a chemical factory. And I got recommended that one, and somebody said to me the other day, if you have nice protein powder, you can make icing with it. And I was like, and so today I took 30 grams of that, put some water in it, and made chocolate icing to go on top of that cake with 200 grams more of Danone yogurt, which is the best yogurt I've had for high protein of all of the makes now. And it was, like 400 calories and it filled me up much more than, my normal dinner. It was just lush. But I had the ice cream then because I had to, because once this is done, I've got to go to bed because I've got to be up at 4:30 for a beatdown, like some of you do. Right. We should keep going, shouldn't we?
I think we should be clear that neither of those are paid product placements.
No, they're not. No.
Just in case
you're absolutely right. We should not be publishing paid for things.
Perform
refreshing.
I'll tell people more if you get me samples. You know what?
I hate when people have product placements just in the middle of like a
now
thing.
You're doing a Wayne's World, aren't you? Yeah. The problem today is everybody's just so serious.
Apart from learning Ninja Creamy recipes, is there anything else in your life, Guardian, that you're learning or upskilling yourself on?
Yeah, I mean, life is really busy for everyone and it goes really quick. And so I spent a lot of time going, how do I squeeze as much as I could out of every second that I had available to me? And it just creates stress because when you're trying to do a million things and you can only do 999 instead of 1,000, that in itself creates stress. And it's kind of that whole like slow down to go faster thing. So I'm trying to almost in a weird way be slower at things, just to actually slow the pace of, perceived time while I'm doing things and just see if it makes a calmer me, see if it allows me, because everyone has something happens and they have an emotional reaction to it, and then they react to it, and it's that gap between the two determines how you react to it. And if I'm the usual me, which is I've got to do this, I did 20 things today, let's keep going, usually that reaction is fairly quick and therefore quite rash. The kid knocks a drink over on the table and I immediately kind of go like, I don't know. Whereas it was an accident, and get something to clean it up, and 2 minutes later, it's like it never happened. And I've noticed sometimes that makes quite a big difference when I'm rushing around trying to do everything. If something doesn't quite go right, I'm a lot more stressed than if I just try and slow myself down and go, yes, I could do 20 things in the next half an hour that I got free. I could just do a couple, but do them really well and give myself a bit of time to breathe, give myself a bit of time just to, capture myself and do nothing as well. Like it's something that I'm trying to do a bit more with work, which is you spend so much time on the computer, right? And I try and have these micro breaks, a couple of minutes here or there, to do nothing. Like, don't look at the screen, get a pen and paper, just in case something was to magically pop into my head. But they say that that's, key to some innovation is you need to do nothing. You need to let your brain do nothing so it can, process things. So that's definitely a big focus I'm trying to do is, can I slow things down? Because time is time. It's the same time for everyone. And no one's going to remember me because I was like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, he did like 20, he used to do 20 things in 5 minutes. No one's going to remember me for that. My kids won't anyway. The kids will remember me for how I was as a dad. So yeah, just trying to slow things down a bit.
Yeah. No, it's bad. So unfortunately, there's no micro breaks planned for this podcast. So we're going to crack on, and you're going to have to use your brain
do nothing over here for a few minutes.
No, not going to need. You're going to need your brain for this next part because you're going to need your memory to tell us about your home AO details.
So I was founded in Wilberforce. That was the only AO that was available in the Midlands that Zohan started many years ago, a bit longer than me being there. I think it was probably more like 4 years. So I think I came in after about 6 months. We started, I would say my home AO is the Reserve because it's closer to me. Only just started it. So it was the kind of one I remember getting a message off Zohan. We'd had some really good, consistent Wilberforce beatdowns, lots of packs, some really good queues, and I just remember getting this message going, I think it's probably time we planted a new AO, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, what do I do? And it's like, go and find somewhere, go and scope it out, take funds with you, see what you can find, and start it. And that was the Reserve, and that was just over a year ago. So it was literally, I think it was the day after Sage started the whole of the Yorkshire. The factory, in fact, I met Sage at the social before GTE came down. Couldn't do GTE, but he'd come down and I met him and we had a really good chat about everything from how do you get the word out, yada, yada, yada. And he was explaining about how he'd just started this AO and he didn't have a name for it. And we actually came up with the factory while we were discussing it there and then. So we were like, what's nearby? And he was like this, that. And it was like, the factory? Well, that sounds like a brilliant name for an AO. And, he took that away and I took away this, I was struggling to get FNGs. The only people that were coming were people from Wilberforce. And I said, I've been so good at promoting on social media. I've been putting, these really cool like F3 posters out. And he was like, there's your problem. People look at the F3 branding who don't know it and they go, never heard of it, don't know what it is. Sounds like a cult. It definitely can't be free. That's going to be a pyramid scheme. And they show no interest. Whereas I think back to how I got involved when Zohan put his post out about, hey, we're just a few guys. We're just working out in this park. Fancy it? And it was like, yeah, okay. That sounds super relaxed. Let's go and do that. And he was like, you need to do it as you. You need to promote it as you. And I went back and I did. And we just had FNG after FNG from there on. So yeah, that's how the Reserve came about. It's in Bolmere Gate, which is actually just down the road from where I was a child, where I had spent most of my childhood. In Sutton Park, which I think, fun fact, it's where Sutton Coldfield got its royal status from, because Henry VIII was on a horse somewhere and a wild boar charged at him and someone, I think, managed to kill the boar before the king was taken off the horse or charged by this boar. And I think that was enough for him to go, yeah, you can be a royal town. So a royal town of Sutton Coldfield. It started as one day. It started on the Tuesday. We had four queues, myself included. And we kind of, again, nabbed a couple of the queues from Wilberforce who were a little bit more this way, who were struggling to maybe get to Wilberforce. And we just did, every fourth week we'd queue, and we very quickly went, this is getting momentum. We want to give the guys a second day, even though Wilberforce was doing 2 days just over here. And so there was technically the option for 3 in total. There are some people who are kind of more that side of the park. So it's a 10-minute drive to get to the park. So another 10, 15 that way. And it's just a bit too much for that time in the morning. So we went to 2 days. So we had Tuesdays and Fridays, 5:45 to 6:30. We have kind of talked about a third day, but because Wilberforce being so close and it being on other days, so it's Tuesday and Friday there, Wednesdays and Saturdays there is a chance that if we put the third day on, we potentially clash with one of their days and we would then cannibalise. So we've kind of nicely left it. So technically there are 4 days between 2 very close AOs. So yeah, that's the Reserve.
Nice.
And another fun fact, the Reserve is actually the aerial photography that's featured on In Cadence's opening video. If those who are watching on YouTube can have a look, and that was some aerial photography taken at UK's Convergence 2025 this year.
Another fun fact where the name came from, it wasn't the fact that it was like second to Wilberforce. Some people think like, oh, it's like you've got that one, then that's the reserve, is it? But it's got a Miller and Carter, like a pub right on the side of the lake there. Before it was Miller and Carter, it was a standalone pub called La Reserve. And I remember going as a kid, my dad would, as a family, we'd walk up and, go for a drink, and he'd get me a pack of crisps and a Coke, and we'd sit there and talk about whatever. And I actually fell in that lake when I was a kid. He took me down to the side, and the tyres that they have on the side to stop, like the boats kind of bumping into it, I was pushing them in. I somehow pushed one with a bit too much force and fell into the lake. And my dad had to take me into the toilets. And because it was a good 15-minute walk back, and I was moaning, as you would as probably like an 8-year-old. And so we had to take my clothes off and put them under there and dry. And what I couldn't work out, because core memory won't never leave me, was me stood in the toilet at the men's toilets at La Reserve in my pants with my dad hand drying my clothes to try and get as much off. And I couldn't work out why he was telling everyone that walked in why I'd fallen in the lake. I was like, Dad, why are you like, this is so embarrassing. Like years later, I remember saying to him, why did you do that? We've got this memory of you deciding to tell everyone. It's like, well, Dave, when a middle-aged man is in the toilet with a young boy in just his pants with his clothes in his hand, you do have to usually give a bit of an explanation as to why that's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm going to be a good boy. There's a story that's just come into my head about being in the toilet with my granddad when I was a kid, and I'm going to skip that one. Do you know what? I'm being well grown up today.
It's for the after show.
It's for the after show. Do you know what? This would be some after show. I might have to quit.
This isn't the after show.
This is not the after show. I might have to quit
and drinking. A lot of that
we'll do that for later. No. This is good. Look, let's talk about your role now. Obviously, Nantan is hard to spell. Apart from being hard to spell, what is the purpose that, as you see it, to be Nantan in the Midlands? What are you there for?
Yeah. Firstly, I should say it's a very new role for me. It was a role that Zohan did a fantastic job of, and then more recently, self-admitted that other things outside of F3 was taking him away from that kind of role as it should be, and actually he always felt the role could do a lot more. So very humbled to have been kind of asked to take the mantle and not only take what was already there, but kind of go and you make it grow now, and again, very, very humbled to be on the podcast after the kind of godfather of the UK, original Nantan Safari, and, thinking about the stage that he's got the south to, and, that's led to such a good spread up here. But for me, it's very much around the growth of a region rather than the AOQ. So when I was AOQ for the reserve, very much about making sure that AO had what it needed. Did it have the right cues in the right place? Were they getting the right feedback? Did I have the VQs in the pipeline? Did we have the equipment there? Was someone doing the coffee? Did we need some more equipment? Bring in all that sort of stuff, and I loved it. I thrived on it because I'd kind of started it from day one, and it was just my baby. So it was really nice to build that up. Whereas Nantan, you kind of, I feel like I sit above that now in terms of it's not just about the reserve. It's about the reserve, Wilberforce, illumination, the hall, spoiler alert, and more. So it's very much around, have these guys, have the AOQs got what they need to really make a successful AO? Do they have the support? Have they got the sounding board? And it's been really humbling. Some guys who, I would be looking to get advice off them coming to me to go, hey, I'm thinking about this. Where do you stand on that? And then other people go in such and such and such, but we should probably just check in with Guardian. And I'm like, guys, I'm not, this isn't a dictator role where I say, and, jump and you guys say how high type thing. But they're not doing it as that. They're doing it as, that single point of if we just need to make a decision on something, They go, well, what do you think? And I go, well, I kind of feel like it should sit this way. And they go, brilliant, yeah, let's do that. But it's great because I have that conversation back with them. You know, I had a little minor thought the other day, should we do it this way or should we do it that way? And it's got this group of really great guys, you know, AOQs, and I went thumbs up for this, thumbs down for that, and very quickly got a view back. I was like, brilliant, let's do it that way. So it feels really humbling, really nice to have this ability to, again, try and remove any blockers they've got. So we had our proper first regional call a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to keep it really simple. I wanted to go, hey, OQs, tell me about your AO. How are you getting on? Are you feeling comfortable with the queue quality? Like, if you've got the queues you need, who's going to be in XVQ, and where are your FNGs coming? How many have you had? It's never about numbers, but we need to make sure that we've got the avenues to get the people over to you, and, you know, so you can hit them and whatnot. So that's kind of the thing for me. It's the growth of the region now rather than just the growth of the reserve. So yeah, it's I'm still kind of at the point of relinquishing control to the reserve because, you know, 2 new people who, similar to me, it's kind of a new thing for them. I mean, they're going to be absolutely fantastic, but it's still a new thing for them. So I'm still kind of got a bit of a foot in making sure that, but very kind of quickly that stuff is being handed over to the point of going, I need to be able to leave it, in terms of not go, but not worry about whether or not the queue schedule's updated or who's bringing this, that or the other. And a lot of that's already happened. So it's kind of really nice, and it enables me to kind of focus on, you know, enabling things such as, I think we might need an AO over there who, you know, let's help get that one off the ground then.
People like me saying, when are you going to rugby?
I want to head that way.
I know you do. I want you to too. My family need it. My friends need it too. It's good.
As long as you're not chasing me to Chesterfield.
Here we go. Come on. Let's go for it.
So did you listen to the Safari recording?
I did. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've starfished off Sheffield as South Yorkshire.
Yeah. Saw that.
So
yeah,
I went on Google Maps and I did the distance between Leeds. I took the factory actually, and I think I took the reserve, like the 2 nearest together.
Yeah.
What's halfway? And it's pretty much Chesterfield.
Is it Chesterfield?
So
what we
challenge to you, Guardian.
First one to Chesterfield wins.
First one to Chesterfield wins.
I do keep looking for opportunities. I think as a quick win, I think we could get to the other side of Sutton Park because it's quite a big park and you can't just drive through the middle of it. And then once you start getting that side, you can start starfishing. But what I love hearing is, you know, it's even stories like yourself, Shredder, the distance you were going to get to AOs to build up your understanding and your confidence in it, knowing full well that your absolute ambition was, I'm having one right here and this is where it's going to grow. And we probably have very little of that at the moment. A lot of the guys are very local. So we either ultimately have to make a decision that send ourselves further out, or we do more to try and influence people who are farther out to come. But it's difficult. It's like, you travel 10 minutes for 4:45 in the morning, 5:45 in the morning, but would you travel half an hour? That's where it starts to get tricky. We had a guy from South Birmingham who came up because we had Chameleon and Dags visit one Christmas. And it was a friend of theirs because I think that's originally where they were from, the South Birmingham, like Bourneville area, Cadbury's. And he came over and we gave him a name. We gave him Wonka as a name. He says, where are you from? Bourneville, right, Wonka. And I had hoped very early on, as soon as I kind of met him, I was like, this could be great because this could be a guy that goes like this. I want to do it, but I want something nearer to home. Unfortunately, again, it was that instant. It's just too far for me to get right now. So yeah, it's definitely a consideration of how we can either take baby steps and if we kept taking the baby steps we do now, we'll be in Chesterfield in 2035, I reckon, and rugby in maybe 2040. I don't think it would go that way, but we probably do need to start looking at how we do a bit more of a leap and go to a completely untouched place that goes, no one is coming from that way at the moment. What would it take to get something started there and then kind of very quickly build up a decent packs and, you know, VQs.
We take a leaf out of our American brothers book. You know, those boys will drive an hour for steak. I do think, you know, I mean, in the morning I'm going to the bridge to Watton-on-Thames and it's 25 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, but I want to go there because it's Typhoon's VQ. I went last week for Landlord's VQ. If I wouldn't have been there, I'd have been at the Weir Some of my Irish cousins have taken over the Weirs car park at the moment, so they're on a backup AO at the moment because of visiting caravanners.
Can they not just beat down within the caravans?
No,
that'd be a nice wake-up call.
It'd be a different kind of beat down. You know, they're a bit worried that their cinder blocks are going to get repurposed, but that'll be okay.
The opposite, like the wheels end up in the middle and the cinder blocks are underneath.
For like some giant episode of Snatch.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes some kind of intent or purpose, and I think whoever's the first person to climb the bent spire at Chesterfield, we'll have to wait and see. I'm bringing popcorn for that day, but you just don't know, do you? You know, last Saturday when we did the CSAUP from Walton to Westminster, we were about 18k in maybe, and somebody popped in a cafe, and I went in and I saw an ice cream machine, and they said, "Do you want one?" I was like, "Hell yes!" So I should have had a double actually, considering how hard the walk was. And there was a man there in Richmond Park, and he said, "What are you guys doing?" And one of the other guys, Defib, said to him, and Swinger was there too, and they said something, and I was like, "Are you local?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, we're a workout group, basically, free workout all your life. You need to go on f3near.me. And you'll find that your nearest one is in Morden. Now, I've already got somebody else in Richmond who's interested, who has a friend at the Way in Guildford. This guy messaged me straight away from Richmond that he's coming next week as an FNG, and I'm sitting there going, right. And I'd make no bones about this. You know, Morden is my home, but I'm in this for the city. I want London to have F3 running through it.
Yeah.
Not messing, you know. And yes, there'll be mistakes, and it's not all about me. It's about the next man and the next man and the next man. And we train them and we help them and we release them. Today, the packs were practicing at the book for their VQs soon. And I said, look, you're not being judged. This is going to be fun. And you're going to learn how to count, and you're going to learn how to talk, and you go with what you're good at. And don't do what you're not good at. Use your strengths. But everybody is excited to come out and work with men who, like the Convergence of podcasts said, work with people, courageous love, you know, men supporting each other. This is what we're doing. So bring on this race. I want to see who gets there first.
I don't know. You feel like there's a second competition now, Shredder, which is, can you take London before we take Birmingham?
Well, you know what? Anything's possible. Although you are kind of, what are you now? You're 4-1 up, really. I mean, I know technically I'm part of London and Surrey borders, and there's 5 of us, but I'm on the tube map, so this is real London.
I would argue, even though we're Birmingham postcode, we've not taken Birmingham. No, Birmingham is going into Birmingham, and the people. There was a lot of people in the middle of Birmingham that this will benefit hugely, because they are probably stuck in the apartments and the high-rise flats, and they walk out the office and they walk to work in an office and then walk back and they go back home, and there's plenty of land in the middle of Birmingham that this would massively benefit.
And again, same issue with Manchester and one or two of our other big cities. It's an interesting thing, actually. On the Sunday at Download, I went to a yoga session and I sat there, and at the end of it, and it was so good, I sat there, I was chatting with a young guy from Manchester who was about 30, and I wasn't talking to him as a pastor, I was just talking to him as another man. And I wanted to talk to him about F3, but I just said to him, what is it you really want out of life? And he said, I want to be emotionally literate. And I was like, and I said to him, and that was one of my biggest problems when I was your age. The word we'll use for you Americans that you could go to your dictionaries for, I was a pillock. I was a tosspot, a pillock, a wally. Go and look these words up. I was an idiot. And I just didn't know how to relate to people. I treated girls in relationships badly. I didn't know what to do. And as much as we gather, because the fitness is the magnet, F3 is about helping us to grow to be better men. And he said that he lives in a city where, I don't know, there's 1,000 people living in the same block of flats as him, and no one knows no one.
Yeah.
So we got work to do. Good.
Absolutely.
Well, we're already kind of talking about expanding now. You were. Should we get you just to drop what you were going to drop? You were going to say something about expansion.
Very excited about this. So every so often, because I think EHing a male friend, should be something that we always strive for. You've got a commonality, and I know you, I trust you. Let me tell you about a thing, and I'll come and pick you up. You know me, I wouldn't leave. You know, hopefully you trust that I wouldn't send you the wrong way. Let me come and pick you up. But outside of that, social media has a really important part for those who are on there. So we use it a lot, and we do it very relaxed again. Bit of fun in there, bit of accessibility in terms of that's just a guy with another group of guys doing a thing. I think I could do that rather than this branded up kind of, oh my God, these guys are, you know, going to be 10 times fitter than me and I won't be able to keep up. So the last lot of posts I put out got a good amount of FNGs from it. Hopefully we'll call them out at the end because it's great to have a load of new future cues. And this is the first time where I had about 4 people go in, that sounds great, do you have one in Castle Brom? And I was like, oh no, we're not a million miles from Erdington, and they were like, oh, I can't really get there, or don't drive. And even though Castle Brom isn't a million miles away, there is a like a divide, like physically the M6 runs, and I drive down there a lot, and there is quite a distance, maybe not in kilometres, but mentally distance between everything that's in Castle Vale and that way and everything that's in Erdington and that way. That just means that even though it would be a fair, you know, journey to go, and it's even further mentally. And so I reached out to Concrete. Concrete's from that way. And if you get a chance, get Concrete on this show. He's just one of the best people I've ever met. Like, he's just brilliant. Such a nice guy. Like, he will help anyone. Even he doesn't drive, and yet he'll find a way of getting somewhere to come and help you. It's just such a lovely bloke. And I've seen the impact this has had on his life. And I said, get a lot of noise down from your area. And he went, yeah, I'm not surprised. There's a lot of guys down here that this would benefit. He will usually ruck up to Wilberforce, and it's a good like hour and a half at that time of the morning, and he'll do it. And if he's not doing that, he's jumping in taxis to get here. And if no one can give him a lift, he'll do that. He won't just go, I can't come because no one's going to pick me up. And I said, how do you feel about, you know, starting something down there? And we stretched for him in terms of, I think, what he's comfortable doing, self-proclaimed. In terms of some of the struggles he's had with confidence, he definitely has it in him. And so I said to him, you know, so what do I do? You know? And I said, if you want to use what we did, I jumped in a car about the time of morning that I'd be doing a beatdown, and I would go and see what was out there, and I'd look for spots that I could have a bit of concrete and a bit of grass, maybe lit up areas if possible, because then you're not having to, you know, get lights in when it's dark, not too near houses, because you're going to be doing lots of shouting, and we don't want to be paying off the local people. You want them to come along, but near enough that it's you know, a good amount of local people could walk to in 10-15 minutes. And he came back and he said, I think we found it. Good. Very, very excited to announce that we've got the first BD at the Hall on Sunday the 21st of September.
The Hall?
The Hall, yes.
Good, just checking with the pronunciation on this now. The Hall.
Not the Hull. Not Hull.
Nothing else that sounds like Hall.
Or the Hall.
Hall. Right, good.
The Hall. And I'm super excited. We will be there. So we've kind of teamed up Concrete and Blue Light as AOQs for that. Give them a stretch. They're both really keen. It's going to be our first Sunday AO that we've not had one before, so it was a bit of a should we do a Sunday? You know, do people going to frown on that and go, you ain't getting me up at that time on a Sunday? And I think Concrete's response was, well, I want to do it on a Sunday, and if I want to do it, there's probably other people that want to do it on a Sunday because maybe they work all week and maybe this is the one day where they could if they wanted to. So we said, yeah, let's go for it then. So, we've put the pre-blast up on our band now, and we'll be going along. We've got the logo design, which we're hoping we can get turned into a flag in time, but we're not going to let us hold that back if we can't get the AO flag in time. I'd rather just get these guys going and then see where it goes from there. But super excited for that because that does start to push us a little closer to central Birmingham, because we do have central Birmingham on our map. It's again just doing that without affecting the existing AOs, so it can't be damaging to the other AO to suddenly send a couple of guys over there, and because we want to make sure it sticks. regardless of how many packs do show up in those early days. But yeah, that's really excited for that one.
Good. That's really good.
Excellent. Fun fact, another fun fact for the podcast is when I first posted at Wilberforce, end of last year, I think it was, I stayed in that hotel, which is just where you're going to be doing the AO. Do you know which one I mean? That one. So I stayed there
of course, I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me.
So I know how far it is. Yeah.
I could have spun something and we did it because Flea came down and
he said there's a great massive piece of grass outside
but it's too far for me to get. I'm not coming back here tomorrow. So we thought, we'll do this for you, Flea. So the next time you stay down there, you've got one right outside your door, as long as it's a Sunday. Yeah.
Good.
Sunday to begin with.
So I think we should skip the "Where's the you shall not pass" line, because you two are going to Gandalf each other in Chesterfield at some point.
Yeah, I've kind of got the view of going. I just wouldn't care.
No, exactly.
You should go west.
Go
Telford,
west.
Shrewsbury. That way, yeah. Go west.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, we did have an American PAX over, and he messaged me and he said, I'm stopping in Shrewsbury. Is there anything this way? And I went, sadly not. I was like, can you get over? And he's like, I don't.
Swim down.
Come over here. And we haven't got a car, so unfortunately not. But yeah,
interesting map fact. As one of the people, I think you do this as well, Flea, and I guess you must be a map administrator for the Midlands. I've had a nice little chat with the awesome PAX in America to try to update our nations, because currently it doesn't have England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and we've had a nice chat and they're working on it, and they've come to realise that whoever developed the proprietary software that it's written on would have not realised that United Kingdom is not a country. T-claps to them. They are working on a solution so that, because I explained this to them, I said, look, we've got a Welsh guy who works for a film studio who looks like he's going to start coming to the Weir. When he goes back to Wales, A, he's not going to have a Union Jack up, and B, he's going to want Wales on his country because he's proud of being a Welshman, and rightly so. So, yeah. Yes, so they're working on that for the UK.
It was an interesting one, because if we did get AOs in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, they would have the Union Jack, wouldn't they? No,
they can. I lived in Wales for nearly 15 years and worked there. If you took me,
they wouldn't want to.
They would not. That would be my. I would be shocked if I rocked up to an AO in any of those countries and it had anything other than St Andrews, the Northern Ireland Union flag, or the Welsh dragon.
In America, they have the stars and stripes, right? So it wouldn't be like a state. It's the whole of the USA, isn't it?
Yeah, no. We haven't got time for that at this point in our podcast. I just know. One day I'll change churches and I'll move from where I am now, and wherever I go, I want to plant F3. And if I went to Wales, the first thing I would do would be to design an AO flag, and I would get a dragon. I'd get the Welsh flag up, because
I don't want the England flag. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's about unconscious bias, isn't it? Because just like loads of people think that England is London and they get annoyed about the North-South divide and all these things, it's atypical for an Englishman to be like Union Jack. Yeah. Whereas the other nations would go, hell no.
We're Scotland.
We're Scotland, and rightly so, because they're proud. Anyway, £1 million question time, yeah?
Yeah.
Are we there?
Well, it's all £1 million questions, yeah. It's all getting a bit tribal, isn't it, with these different country flags and things. So adding to that momentum, which is the best soccer football team in the Midlands, Guardian?
Don't call it soccer.
I know.
Well, we've got a lot of American packs that are listening now, so...
Is the best, factually, who is the best?
In Guardian's world?
No, factually, who is the best? It's Aston Villa.
So it's not the same. Aston Villa, okay.
Okay, so it's Aston Villa. I would probably choose, if I had to, I would choose to probably support Aston Villa. They're the closest. They've now given me many a good time at their stadium, because they do gigs as well now. I took my daughter to see a game.
You're just flexing because you went to Aussie, aren't you now?
Yeah, I got to see Ozzy Osbourne there.
Well done.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But, Flea, I don't know if you know this, but actually my dad was born in Leeds. So growing up, I was actually a Leeds fan. So when people ask me what team I support, I go, no one. I like to play football. I don't really watch it or follow a team. But actually, I was a Leeds United fan until I couldn't take the pain anymore. And Aston Villa beat us 3-0 in the Coca-Cola Cup 1996, and I cried. And then stopped.
It's a bit painful. All of my in-laws are Leeds fans, so yeah, it's up and down, season to season.
It was a hard time being a child.
My family disowned me when I refused to support Coventry City, and the fact that they were rubbish wasn't really a justification for me not supporting them. Anyway, okay, so my other humorous £1 million question is, obviously Birmingham has more miles of canal than anywhere else in Europe. So don't enter a competition to go to the place with the most miles. You are not going to Venice. You'd be going to Birmingham. Do you ever make use of them for CSAUPs, for Moseying, for disappearing crossfitters who smack talk F3 guys? Do you go and use the canals?
I'm not legally allowed to talk about the latter on a recorded podcast, unfortunately. My guardian has told me not to.
Good. See, there you go.
So no, we don't. Again, and this is the kind of unfortunateness of being just slightly above Birmingham. We use the beautiful space we have around us up here rather than being a bit more adventurous and going, we could just go that way a bit. But yes, we may have the most miles of it. I have been on a party barge around a number of the areas, and I would still say go to Venice for the sights and sounds that you will see.
And smells.
Smells of as bad in Birmingham as Venice, I think. No?
But yeah, it's definitely one for the future. Again, if we can get our foot into Birmingham city centre, it would go without saying that would be a very good one to do. Just have to make sure you don't fall in, because you'll probably hit some sort of like an e-scooter, e-bike, trolley. I think they were talking once about all these e-scooters and people kept chucking them in the canals. So they had like a retrieval signal on. There were people that would go in and retrieve them out because there were so many being thrown into the canals that they would have to go.
Good workout. Metal
be brilliant
thing.
And the next exercise is
pull the trolleys out of the canal.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You could have a massive fun CSAUP though if you said we're going to do a 25-mile circuit of the canals. It'd be a lot of fun, Obviously, watch out for dog poo and floaters, but you'd be good. It's over to you, Flea.
We've talked earlier about your EHing prowess and getting all these FNGs in via Facebook, which again seems to be working quite well for Yorkshire too.
Yeah.
How about the cold face-to-face here? If you meet someone, I don't know, say you're at the fresh fruit and veg section in the supermarket, and a guy, what's that F3 jacket, that F3 shirt you're wearing?
Yeah.
What's your elevator pitch to the guy? 10 to 15 seconds.
As simple as I can make it. Really, really cool group of guys. We meet we meet before work. We do a workout. We're kind of done and having a cup of coffee with each other within the space of 45 minutes. You should come down. It'll be right up your street. And that's kind of all that would make sense for someone if they were speaking to me and they're like, right, we've got 3 Fs and one is this and one is that. And you're like, well, the passion that I can get across helps, because I am genuinely passionate about it. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But yeah, it's got to be super simple. It's got to be just show up. Look, give me your number. I'll come and pick you up if you're local. Like no issues with picking up people that I've just met that want to come and post for the first time. But yeah, it's that. I think I've got very much this mantra, as I'm sure a lot of people in F3 will, which is some people obviously have maybe a view that every man needs F3. And I don't disagree, but whether or not F3 can suit every man at that particular point in their life, can they make it work? Is it in the right space for them, physically as well as mentally? But I want every man to know that it's there. I just need every man to know there is a thing there, that they can come once and never come again. Not that I'd want them to, but it's not a, right, that's it, you've got you now, you're stuck in doing this for forever and a day. They can do it while they're visiting on holiday. They can do it once a week. They can do it. Why wouldn't you want people to know that? And that's my biggest struggle that I'm trying to overcome, is how do I make it that every single man, if you say to them F3 or that workout group in a certain part, they go, yeah, I've heard about that. It doesn't work for me because, I've got arthritis in my knees, or I work 4 o'clock in the morning every day, something like that. But it's even hearing coming across FNGs or potential FNGs who will message me and go, I live 2 roads over from Rookery Park. Can you tell me more about this? I'm like, how do you not know? And this isn't me having a go at them, but it is that kind of proximity thing where we spend so much of our time isolated. Even as a family, you can be isolated as that group, to not know that something that is completely free, accessible, open to all men is just on your doorstep. That's the biggest barrier I think we need to overcome, is how do we build that momentum to kind of make everyone aware.
Awesome. Cool. So wish list time. If you could EH anyone, and you had the chance to name them, who would you? I thought it might be Nick Frost after earlier. And what would you call them?
Yeah, that would be awesome. He seemed like such a nice guy. I'd call him Cornetto if I did do that one. So I had 2 on this one. One is a bit of a cheat because it technically wouldn't be an EH, but I've always thought how big F3 is in America. There's got to be some people over there, some American musicians that are in bands that tour, that go to F3. You can't. There's got to be people over there that they're like, by morning I'm such and such name. Yeah. But during the day and the evening, I'm drummer for this band, guitarist for that band, and then I have this kind of in my head this story of then they go and tour. And they come to the UK to do a UK tour, and they go, oh, hey, we're stopping by in such and such. I'm going to go on F3. I go, oh, look, there's one in Birmingham. We're playing there tomorrow night. I'm going to go post it in the morning. And then they'll show up, and there's, a lot of bands I'll listen to, and I know they're into their fitness. So really great band called August Burns Red.
Yeah.
And, the lead singer especially, he does a lot of talk around mental health as well, and the importance of that. And I've just got this image of turning up one day and Matt Granier, the drummer, just being there like, oh, hey, my name's X and this is my home AO and we're touring the thing. And I just thought I'd post and I'd be like,
can I have your autograph on my cinder block?
Not be like, can I be his battle buddy? Not that they'd need one, but that would be so strange, and yet it should happen at some point in the future. Why wouldn't it? But someone I would love to EH, and I'm probably going to absolutely butcher his name, Anton Newtonboom, which is a name in itself, right? But he's you might know him as the Barefoot Dutchman. So he's the one who did the kind of longest walk completely barefoot, just spreading awareness about men's mental health. So there's some really touching videos because he built up a really, really big following of people literally following him doing this journey. And they would go and find him. They would know he's passing to the town, and he'd be like, "Hey man, what's up?" And they were like, "I just need a hug. Can I just?" And they'd almost just open up and just go, "I'm really struggling right now." And he'd be like, "Look, be strong. It's some encouraging words, but we're here for you." And that type of awareness raising is so important if we're going to get the stigma and of talking about it and being open with other people who you'd argue someone who is maybe married with kids should have that avenue to open up, but yet they don't. Someone like that would be great, because I think, first of all, what an amazing person he is to do that. What an amazing ability he's got to raise that awareness. And if I was to name him, I had a couple. Forrest would be the first one, Forrest Gump, because he did kind of big cross country. And then the other one, which I thought was quite clever because it's play on words, but he walked across barefoot, so his feet were probably going to be quite callous. And the fact that he was the complete opposite of when you say, oh, someone's quite callous, I thought that name would be quite fitting, because it's the irony of the fact that he'd be the opposite, and also his feet would probably be a little bit sore after all of that walking. So I think I'd go with callous.
Callous. Awesome. That's a lot of thought, man. That is a lot of thought.
Well, if you ever get the Red Hot Chili Peppers turning up to Wilberforce, tell Flea that he can't have Flea is his name. And he's got to have, we're going to call you Keith. Why?
Yes. You don't need to know that.
You don't need to know.
It's notice this time, right?
It is notice this time. Yeah, we're getting near the end. Yeah, this is the traditional point where we go through and we talk about our FNGs. So AOQs, Weasel Shakers. If you get any FNGs during these next weeks or so, please let Shredder and I know. You can reach us on F3 UK band, you can get us on the email address we're going to stick on the top of the screen, actually. So yeah, massive respect to all those new guys joining in the last weeks. Big step to get out there into the gloom for the first time, but yeah, you won't regret it. So big shout out to, I'm going to reel them off now. We've got Wonder at the drop zone in Sheffield, and we've got Stones, Snells at the boundary. We've got Shh at the brook. And
What the beaver?
And at the way, we've got Old Man, who is actually 76. So respect for that. That's some good EH in.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, as I said, fantastic.
I
know you guys have got Strider as well, haven't you? Down
I was going to say we got Strider in the Midlands.
He's 72, 73, something like that. Is he?
Yeah. And even though, bless him, he's not been able to post recently, he'll still show up at the end. He'll Starsky, and he'll usually bring cake because he just loves coming to speak to us. And like there was one, and bless him, it feels like sometimes he feels like he doesn't want to intrude on the actual beatdown. Whereas we've had people Starsky before, and they just rock up 10 minutes before the end, and they'll mill around at the end, and they'll be like, "You're right, lads." And we're like, yeah. Bless him. Strider will kind of stay. Just you can still see him, just a few meters away. You're just kind of waving at him in the distance, and he's
talking by the basketball court.
Come back.
When we came down from Yorkshire down to Birmingham, when was that? April. There was about a couple of carfuls of us, and we came down for a joint workout. And I remember him bringing some rather epic chocolate cake for the COT, and I think we did a 60-30 format, didn't we? For that, it was pretty good. We had a nice discussion with some epic cake. So thank you, Strider, for that. Brilliant. So welcome home, brothers, to the FNGs, and hopefully see you around at some point.
Yeah, I've got some.
Yeah, tell us your Midlands ones. Yeah,
got a few actually. I think this is timed quite nicely because again the recent social post led to quite a lot of people reaching out. So I've got 9 and 3 for each of the 3 AOs. So this has panned out better than I expected. So Wilberforce, we've got Reach, Organic, and Villain. Tell which team he supports. At the reserve, we've got Iron Sight, Monty, and Quantum. And at Illumination, we've got Magpie, Future, and Link. Welcome home to those guys.
Magpies. Is that a football one? Do you think as well? Or
he's Newcastle.
Yeah.
We had a guy who again he came for a few and then have been trying to get him back, but I think work's got in the way as well. And he was also from Newcastle, so we could have called him Magpie. And in the end, he got called YI.
YI and shush.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, brothers watching, not just men, but anybody that's watching this podcast, please do share it with people. Whether you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube, then well done. You should have some cake. If you're listening on Spotify or on Apple, rate the show, rate F3 Nation's podcast family. It's just good because it helps get it to more people, and that's kind of why we're getting people like Guardian on to come and tell stories about what's happening and hopefully invite more men in to this exciting world.
Fantastic. A couple of quick things from me. If you haven't already listened to it, I'm going to put a link on here for the High Impact Man podcast. Shredder mentioned the Podvergence earlier, so Hook was on there with a few of the podcast hosts talking about the culture of F3 and what that means. So yeah, please have a listen to that. It's really good insights and views from some of our colleagues who host the other F3 Nation family podcast too. So please have a listen. Really good, about an hour and a half of that. It's good to sit through. Other bits and bobs, we've got a CSAUP coming up in Dartmoor in the UK. That's the weekend of the 10th to the 12th of October. Walter's organising that one. There's quite a few signed up for that already. Not too late to HC. Working on trying to get a HC to that. There's still some negotiations.
Come stay with me. I'm going down.
Okay.
You got it. I even booked a double room.
Just right. In case anyone, it's one of them stay with you, is it? Okay.
Put your keys in the bowl.
Yeah. I'll put a soft commit for now, Guardian. I'll see how we go.
It's how we do things in Devon.
Okay, well, I'll consider that. But anyone else who's listening who's interested, the offer is the bed share with Guardian. Yeah, reach out to Walter, who's queuing that one for us. And
Should be a good
the
one,
other
that.
thing for our American listeners, anyone who's in the Charlotte metro area on the weekend of the 27th of September, there's a Honor Through Action CSAUP, which is going to be held at Charlotte Coliseum. I've signed up. I'm going.
Nice.
I'm doing it. I'm going to be in the US for a work trip. I've actually going through Charlotte for the weekend. So I'm meeting up with Forge from Hunt for Wellness podcast. He's picking me up from a hotel. We're going to go and do the CSAUP. I'm going to try and get some video of us together. Maybe do a little mini
Or just to prove
on
you
the
were there.
road. Yeah, look, I was here and I was working out.
But we're just going to make you carry heavy bags. You can
Yeah,
get a video
pretty
of
much.
that.
Yeah, it's got some sort of sandbags going on, I guess. So, yeah, we'll get out there, meeting up with them and maybe some other people as well. I'll keep you up to date with the travels, and I'll try and get some videos to put on the next
Nice.
In Cadence. We'll do In Cadence on tour.
Nice.
Yes.
So yeah,
Good.
that's and then hopefully getting out to Las Vegas. Well, I am getting out to Las Vegas and hopefully posting with Watt, who is the
What?
AOQ. Yeah,
What?
Who's,
You know, we need someone called who, don't we?
You need someone called
who,
huh?
what, where, when,
What?
how.
Yeah. Who?
So, and I've actually got a colleague of mine who was former F3 who moved in the US and for some reason not doing it anymore. But I've already EH'd him to come and do workouts with us when in Las Vegas, and I've EH'd my friend from university who's living in Charlotte, who I'm visiting. He's coming to join me in as an FNG.
There you go.
In Charlotte.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, that's my long distance challenge to myself.
That's very impressive. But you
Doing
can't
right.
get your neighbour to go to one in
I know, yeah, I've
Leeds.
tried, but no, it's too far.
One man at a time.
What about a Vegas one? Yeah, I'll come and do that with you.
Yeah, I can do that, yeah.
We'll get there.
Anything you want to say, Guardian, before we bid you fond farewell?
I think I'll just echo what I said earlier, which is very humble to be invited onto this, especially so early, seeing the list of packs that you've had on so far, and I'm kind of like, wow, these you know, these some big hitters, and you've got little old me coming on here, but very you know, honoured to be asked, and appreciate you letting me tell some of my story and open up, and yeah, I hope it some of it resonates with people out there and gets people thinking and gets people going, oh, I didn't think of that, and you know, keen to make those connections with people far and wide, you know, their thoughts on life, and just I think conversation's really important. Different perspectives and different diversities is what I really enjoy about this, is meeting people from all different backgrounds and learning their life story and going, wow, would never have thought that, and how it just makes people different, and how it brings us together as such a lovely kind of group of guys that actually you just feel supported. So thank you once again for having me, Shredder and Flea.
It's our pleasure, isn't it?
Thank you for coming on. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be with you again in 2 Wednesdays from now. Please like and subscribe if you're not already doing so. We'll see you in the gloom. And that's all from today from the UK and the In Cadence team. Aye.
Aye.
All right.